swing squat, two-handed flip, swing squat, two-handed flip. I'm going to do 8 shoulder presses. And also adds a level of instability to it. Hello everybody. Today's workout might be all over the place. I don't know, I'm kind of have been having a run of like a poor sleep schedule, and that combined with getting over my sickness from a couple of days ago and all of that, like my energy levels aren't the greatest, but I still want to like do something that's intense. Like I think there is something to be said for pushing against that feeling of discomfort and then still trying to get a workout that's very similar to how I usually do things. Otherwise I think complacency might set in where, so like just even today I contemplated not coming to the gym, which I think is a result of me taking rest days, which is unlike me to do. And so because I took rest days, that kind of streak of like not missing a workout or not missing a day at the gym, like I work out every day, got broken. And then the part of the mind / body that says, oh, it's okay to take a day off, gains some power and leverage, and then starts being able to justify reasons for not coming to the gym. And so I don't want that to be a pattern that sets in with regard to my workouts as well, to where I find some reason to not go intense, like, oh, I'm not feeling great or whatever. I think there is something to be said for just like maybe reduce the weight or whatever, or take longer rest periods, but to get similar volume in. That being said, I do have a few things that I want to do. So it's Christmas Eve tomorrow, but technically it's past midnight, so today, and the gym closes early today and isn't open tomorrow. So I'll have to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow, but we'll see. But that's all besides the point. The main thing is there are a few things that I want to get out of the way, so that it feels like I've got all my bases covered. One of those bases is like high intensity training, where I get my heart rate high through full body movements such as the sled and kettlebell complexes. Then the other part of things is I want to do mobility. And then I also want to do the sauna, and I also want to do some abs. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to split all of these things up. But what I'm starting off with, so at least for the next 2 movements, the constant is going to be the sled, and I'm going to do the same movement with the sled, just reverse sled and backward sled, because it's a really simple way to get the heart rate going and the whole body involved. I'm not going to try and do anything too complex with the sled today. Just the commonality is going to be the reverse sled and forward sled, and I'm not going to record it for every set either. I think it gets kind of redundant and makes the video longer than it needs to be, but just know that on every set, unless I say otherwise, I'm doing the sled at the beginning, and then I'm probably going to superset that with some kettlebell or other movements. So reverse sled, forward sled. Then going to do kettlebell alternating halos for 10 on each side. Great movement for shoulders and back. The cores involves quite a bit as well. Then I'm going to use the 28 kilogram kettlebell to do a little complex. So I'm going to flip the kettlebell. As usual, instead of flipping, you can just do a swing. But so swing squat, two-handed flip, swing squat, two-handed flip. So yeah, this is what I'm starting off with, doing 5 sets and then on to the next thing. I said earlier that I wouldn't be recording the sled, but it feels like it breaks the flow a little, where after the sled then I have to come and press the camera. So instead of that, I guess you guys are going to have to deal with some redundancy. So, a long time ago, maybe like 10 years ago now, there used to be this program on bodybuilding.com called Jim Stepani's Shortcut Sled. And in that program, what he would do is he would superset a bodybuilding movement with like step-ups or something like that, so that the heart rate's high throughout the workout. So the sled back and forth can almost be considered that, where it is a movement that's full body that'll keep the heart rate up, but the weight's not too high or anything at the moment to be overly taxing. And so I'm able to have a consistently high heart rate throughout the workout just by interspacing the sled. In any case, for the kettlebell movements, starting off with kettlebell anchored shoulder presses. So I have a 28 kilogram 62 pound kettlebell in my left hand and 35 pound, which is I think 16 kilo kettlebell in the right, and I'm going to do 8 shoulder presses. And then switching sides. The act of holding a kettlebell in one hand while shoulder pressing with the other increases the total load that the body has to manage during the exercise, which increases growth hormone release. It also increases the total number of muscles involved within the movement. So if it was just the shoulder press, it's only shoulders and some core, but while holding the kettlebell, there's more of a core involvement and just overall more like stability muscles involved in order to do the movement seamlessly and maintain balance. And then like there's just like the arms, shoulders, forearms, and traps of the opposite hand that's involved as well. After 8 each side of that, doing 10 staggered single arm deadlifts with the kettlebell. So switching sides. So yeah, doing these for 4 sets, probably one more sled based circuit, and then into some mobility or whatever after. For the final sled based circuit, I've gone up in weight, so I have 3 plates on the sled now. So for the first 2 sets of exercises, I was doing just 1 plate, and then just to turn up the intensity a little and get more out of myself, I added 2 plates, so 3 plates in total, and doing the same old regular movement. So by the end of all of this, I've done, I believe, like 15 sets of sled. With a decent amount of weight, which is quite a bit of volume on the legs. Then for the kettlebell movements, I'm doing something a little different. So I have a towel wrapped around the 62-pound kettlebell, and I'm going to first do a curl, then an upright row. I'm going to do this 5 times. The towel grip makes the movement a lot harder on the forearms, and also adds a level of instability to it. And then with a 35-pound kettlebell, going to do a flow. So swing squat, figure 8, cannonball grip, shoulder press, and repeat. For 5 times on each side. Swing the weight around like that requires the core to stay activated, and also, you know, adds an explosive component to it. So yeah, this is the final set of sled movements. Going to move into some mobility. For mobility, doing a two-part thing. So first, doing band-assisted reverse Nordics. So I have a resistance band which will help pull me back up. Let me get it. I'm going to get it in my elbow crease or zerker position. Then I'm going to keep glutes tight and the back of my feet are in contact with the floor as opposed to the toes being in contact with the floor. And then going to lean back. This also helps with like ankle mobility because it helps stretch the tibs when you lean back. But this is primarily a quad lengthening mobility exercise. After that, I'm going to do cable floor seated Goodmornings. So kind of like a protagonist antagonist component. So what I mean by that is the reverse Nordics is a quad dominant movement. So the front of the legs, and then seated Goodmornings is the back of the leg. So hamstrings. Going to cable slowly pull me forward. And keep letting it pull me slowly. Usually the first rep is always kind of hard, like there's usually some built-in tightness that has to slowly be released. And so by really slowing the movement down and letting the cable gradually pull you forward, and then kind of adjusting the body. So right now I'm like tilting my body a little bit to the right because there's some tightness which is like kind of making it tilt to the left, so I'm kind of evening it out, and that helps me pull, and that helps the cable pull me a little more forward. And then also rotating my palms a little loosens up some things in my shoulders and lats, which further lets me go down and then come back up. So when doing mobility exercises, always kind of be, well, just in lifting in general, it's good to be really conscious of how the muscles are feeling. But with mobility, it more so is some time to like really slow things down and experience how your body is feeling. And instead of going for a lot of reps, I think it's more so good to I guess get quality reps and play around with different grips. So earlier I was going both overhand for the most part. Now I'm doing like a reverse grip. And usually each time after you hit the threshold, which pretty much means how low you could go in the previous rep, the next rep you can usually go forward a little bit more. And similar to the previous thing, going for 5. And there's something about mobility exercises that just kind of has this weird calming or sedating feeling. So yeah, doing these two for mobility. It's mostly lower body mobility, but the Goodmornings also stretch a lot of muscles in the upper posterior chain. I'm going to do this for 3 sets, then head to the sauna for a bit. Decided to finish off with some single leg back extensions before I head to the sauna. Yeah, I used to do a lot more lower back work. Like even now, like through windmills and some other exercises, the lower back does get worked, but I haven't paid any dedicated attention to it, and so I thought today was as good a day as any to do some lower back work. Also, cable Goodmornings, I would say, targets the lower back a little. Yeah, but it's probably good to do some leg or back extensions. So with back extensions, like pretty much all other movements I do, I have a preference for the unilateral version of it. So I leave one leg in the, I guess, hold, and then do 10. Doing full range of motion. And switching sides. One of the benefits of doing unilateral stuff, like I mentioned usually, is the ability to notice strength differences and any structural imbalances that exist between the muscles of either side. And while one-to-one symmetry is very improbable, you can get really close to it, which usually ends up giving you a lot more balanced mobility and makes you more injury free and less pain prone. I might have mixed up terminologies there. More pain-free and less injury-prone is probably the better usage. In any case, doing a couple sets of this, then heading to the sauna. What's the time? I don't know. I may or may not do some posing after this, but if not, this is the end of the video. Yeah, let's see. I want to put out a video tomorrow and day after, but I might do a run or a walk. And when I say a walk, I usually go for like a 5 or 6 mile walk. It's not just like a short one. And then I usually end up doing some stretching and stuff at home too. Um, but yeah, let's see what ends up happening over the next couple of days. Yeah. Otherwise, this might be the end of the video. See you all tomorrow. Otherwise, posing ahead. Decided to end off with some posing. Spent 30 minutes in the sauna doing a mixture of tib raises and like some hamstring stretches and calf raises and ATG split squats. Just a little physique update. My right side is my better side, I would say. And usually, like, when you see like fitness models and stuff pose, you can always notice that they have a tendency of preferring one side versus the other. Alright, just wanted to do a mini physique update. That's all for today's video. See you all tomorrow.